Hello and welcomes everyone, Wolf here bringing you a new Let's Play. As you can no doubt tell from the title of the video, or from the background image I may be using, this once again is another campaign, another series of Star Wars The Old Republic. This is going to be a replay of the Imperial Agent series, and this is a game, as most people who are familiar with my YouTube channel are aware, that I've played this extensively, going through various of the class story arcs, and even replaying some when the mood is taking me. And so it is with the Imperial Agent. So, for those of you who are familiar with the introductions to how I start these Star Wars series, it's going to be very similar, so you are very welcome to skip ahead. We are basically going to be doing what is known as my introduction video, where we're going to be briefly talking about the lore, the situation that we find our character in, where the story is set in between some of the other Star Wars media that some people may be more familiar with, what you may expect of this actual series, and then we're going to be finally going into character creation and the opening cinematic. There won't be any combat in this first video, and that's probably also going to be true for the first 5-10 minutes of the second video, as I go through some of the UI elements. But then we'll actually get into some combat, whichever prologue planet we happen to be on. As an Imperial Agent, I think we start on the world of Hutta. It's been 6 months since I've actually played any Star Wars The Old Republic. I did originally try to start recording this series back in September last year, and I put it to one side. Now that I have a new desktop PC, which I'm recording my audio on right here and now, I figured, why the hell not? This is a good time to get started, and so here we are. So if you are willing to stick around with this introduction video, feel free to have a pause, make yourself a fresh drink, get yourself comfortable, and we'll get right into it. So, for those of you who are still here, Star Wars The Old Republic has been going on for many years, I think, without looking it up quickly. Expert YouTuber here, of course. I think it was released back into 2011? May have been 2012, forgive me if I got it wrong. Either way, it's been going on for many years. I've been here since the beginning, on and off. I haven't been here all the time, and even I haven't actually done a great deal of the content that more people may be familiar with. But I do enjoy this game. This is an MMO, and was developed by BioWare and published by EA. Now, in regards to where it is with other Star Wars media, BioWare did release Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. These games were set prior to the events where we find ourselves, I think at least 200 years prior to Knights of the Old Republic. And then most people are aware of the Star Wars movies, which are set 3,500 years ahead of the events that are transpiring here and now. But at this point in time where our player is coming into action, where we actually get to play our character, it is in an era known as the Cold War. What's basically happened is, prior to where we start playing our character, there was an event known as the Great War, or Great Galactic War. This was a war between the Galactic Republic and the resurgent Sith Empire. This war actually went on for quite some time, and in fact it went on for 28 years, where the Sith Empire came out of Imperial space, the unknown regions and such, and basically started pushing back, conquering most of the known galaxy. And the Galactic Republic united its forces and actually tried to push the Empire back. This would be a tug of war between both major factions, as well as some neutral worlds which were trying to keep out of the situation, some of which were successful, some of which weren't. and actually ended up with the Republic's capital of Coruscant being shattered during an assault near the end of the war. There was a treaty signed known as the Treaty of Coruscant, which was very favourable to the Sith Empire. The Sith Empire, I believe, was able to keep, I think, 2/3 of the worlds it had basically conquered, it had annexed. And this is where we find our character. There is, according to the Galactic Wikipedia and such in Star Wars, an 11-year time span where we get to experience this trade-off between the Republic and the Empire, and we will be assisting Imperial efforts to try and weaken the Republic without causing a political shitstorm and refueling the war, restarting it I should say, but at the same time helping Imperial interests on the various worlds we will be visiting. As I say, we are going to be playing as an Imperial agent. As we go through character creation, we'll learn more about what an agent actually does, and how they work alongside their, I wouldn't say Sith masters, but we'll talk more about that once we get into character creation. Either way, this series is similar to some of my series on YouTube, where what I want to call it is a long Let's Play, where we're not only going to be focusing on the class story arc and the various quests that an Imperial agent will have, but we'll also be looking to assist Imperial interests. We'll be doing a lot of the world quests. I would say a good few of the optional exploration missions that are made available, just to give you a bit more food for thought on what's happening on that world. Also, you get a bit of extra experience, some extra items for doing so. We'll also be doing a few of the, maybe not all of the heroic missions that are made available. These are missions that have increased difficulty but greater rewards, also giving you a bit more lore about the situation that you may find yourself in. And then we may also be looking to do various flashpoints, which are the equivalent of dungeons in other games. But we'll talk more about that as... if there's anything I've missed, we'll talk more about that once we're actually in-game. And as you can probably tell, I'm a little bit rusty in recording the audio for such of these things. But yeah, what we'll do is we'll get ourselves over to character creation, and we'll talk more about anything I may have missed once we get over there. So, I'll see you in just a moment. And welcomes back, everyone. So, let's get ourselves into character creation and go forward from there. So, one thing to mention again, I am of course playing on one of the European servers known as Darth Malgus. Valakar. It all started with you. I will definitely have to replay my Bounty Hunter at some point. Someday. Either way, ignore the Knights of the Fallen Empire and Onslaught expansions. I do have some level boosts to make use of. I've had them there for many a year. We're going to be starting at level 1. And now we get to choose our allegiance. We can join the Galactic Republic, founded 20,000 years ago by explorers and diplomats. The Galactic Republic is a vast democracy led by the Supreme Chancellor. The Republic is a chaotic amalgam of many worlds, corporations, and species, which often clash with one another. As I've mentioned maybe in a few of my previous series, especially some of the later ones, the Galactic Republic has a lot of red tape, especially in this period of non-war they have with the Sith Empire. There are, of course, various factions that know that war with the Empire is no doubt going to be inevitable. The only question is when it's going to occur. A lot of the time, Each of the various species, corporations, each world is looking out for their own and their own place within the Republic. And so, unless there is a unified threat like the Empire imposing on them, they may not get much done, or if there is anything to be done, it may actually occur very slowly. It's quite a lot of maintaining the status quo, and if you're playing as a class of the Republic, well, the status quo isn't the best for everyone. There's a lot of people who are downtrodden who sometimes become raiders or pirates or smugglers because they feel that the system is helping those in power and not helping those who need help, basically. On the other side, of course, not exactly the better side, it depends on your point of view, you have the Sith Empire, a rigid militaristic society where aliens are subjugated and the Sith Lords are supreme. The Empire is ruled by the mysterious, all-powerful Sith Emperor. To Imperial citizens, power is everything, and only the strongest can ascend to glory. Yes, this is a very rigid, as I say, militaristic faction, and if you are the human or pure-blooded Sith, especially as a playable character, there may be unique dialogue options where they look down upon you for being an alien. Now, how to best put this? The Sith Emperor, even during the Great Galactic War, is in charge of the overall Empire, and his word is law. But it seems he was distracted. He wasn't always there to give instructions. When that occurs, there are a smaller faction of powerful Sith Lords who make up the Dark Council. These members each have their own sphere of influence. For example, I think it is Darth Jadis who may be in charge of Sith intelligence, and therefore Imperial intelligence will answer to him in one way or another. But these spheres of influences do overlap, as intelligence would be good for the defense of the Empire, or for any aggressive expansion of the Empire. So these Sith Lords will occasionally, well, more often than not, butt heads and share information. But this can lead to infighting, not only amongst the Dark Council, but by the Sith who are below them. Now, we aren't actually a member. We don't have force powers. We aren't a member of the Sith. And so it's interesting to see how our position in the Empire is affected by that unfortunate circumstance, I suppose you can say. Because we're going to be playing as an Imperial agent, we are actually going to be playing as a member of the Empire. We get to choose our class. Back in the day, and I may say that a few times, you used to only choose your starting class, one of the four, the Sith Warrior, Sith Inquisitor, Bounty Hunter, or Imperial Agent. And you would only choose your advanced class once you left your prologue world, and there would be a couple of NPCs, a couple of trainers, who would then explain what each advanced class may be all about. And you could ask them questions, and they may help sway your decision. Or you may have already decided what you're going to play as, and so be it. The thing is with the class and advanced class, once you select it, there's no going back. There are skill trees, discipline paths you can follow within those classes, but once you choose your class at this stage, that's it. So you need to be reasonably aware. As an Imperial Agent, we have 2 advanced classes. We'll have a look at them now. As an Imperial Agent, we can become an Operative or a Sniper. Obviously, we have the 3 discipline paths for both classes. the operative has a chance to become a healer following the medicine discipline path, or they have 2 DPS paths as well. The sniper is primarily always focused on DPS. There is just different ways they go about doing so. From what I understand, marksmanship has the best burst DPS. Engineering, I think, has a lot of use of explosives to do a lot of sustained damage to groups of enemies. And then virulence is your damage over time discipline path. I mean, you will get abilities that cross over, but each discipline path have their own unique abilities. Now, I recently, back in May, June last year, I started playing as a Republic smuggler. I ended up becoming a gunslinger, who is the equivalent of the Imperial sniper. So when I got to the end of the main class storyline with Nola, I figured I wouldn't really enjoy playing as a sniper because that's exactly what I had been doing. And so I thought about going to play as an operative. Plus, an operative gets a stealth field generator allowing you to sneak by various groups of enemies. But now that I've had a time away, it's been 6 months or so, I figured we'd actually go back to playing as an Imperial sniper. Mainly because my original agent was an operative, and I do love the class, don't get me wrong, plus the ability to sneak by trash mobs. Very useful. But picking enemies off at a distance is actually extremely fun. Plus, I noticed that the sniper and gunslinger are very powerful in terms of the damage they can achieve at range. So, yeah, that's what we'll go with. Now we get to choose what race, what species we are. As I say, we know as a part of the Empire, if we're not playing as a human, or maybe a cyborg, or pure-blooded Sith, there may be unique dialogue options. From what I recall, and I've never seen these cutscenes, but I have heard it said, the Chiss, the secretive, mysterious people, they come from, I think, the unknown regions. I can't recall where their planet is, but the Chiss are one of the only official allies of the Empire. No one really knows much about them, about their culture, and how even their naming system works. From what I understand, and this was last year, and informations went out of my head, there is like a ruling series of dynasties. There's like certain families which have like noble status, and then you have the offshoots as well. And I can't recall, like, roleplay wise, what really matters. What matters is we will play as a Chiss to explore what some unique dialogue may be in the future. You can decide if we want to play as a male or female character. We'll play as a male character. I was contemplating playing as another female operative, but changing my mind.
My activities are authorized by Imperial Intelligence.
Both voice actors, male and female, actually do a really good job. There is actually some accent changes, especially early on your prologue world, when Keeper, the man in charge of the operation, tells you to actually drop the accent. So, give me a moment, because I've already decided what our character is going to look like. So I just need to adjust as appropriate. There we are.
You'd better not be wasting my time.
Indeed. I believe that's correct anyway. Yeah, looks good. Let me just check the skin colour. Yep. Now, as I mentioned with Chiss culture, they have a unique naming system. For the purposes of the Imperial Agent, for the purposes of maybe roleplay, I'm not going to give myself such a Chiss-centric name. What I could say is this is his moniker, his nickname to make him more easily titled and identified by the Empire. And maybe to other chiss he would reveal his true name, perhaps, if it was appropriate. Our agent's name is going to be Thalon. Now, before we actually get further into the opening scroll, there is actually a story to give you an idea of the Imperial agent's role as a part of the Empire. I'm going to read through this. Again, feel free to skip ahead if you so choose, but it does give you an idea of what an agent could be all about. So, assassin, saboteur, the Empire's secret weapon. The Empire dominates scores of star systems across the galaxy, but not through the power of the dark side alone. Behind the scenes, the cunning agents of Imperial Intelligence track down and eliminate the Empire's enemies, from intractable Republic senators to traitorous Imperial moths, to bloodthirsty rebels with Republic ties. The agent must master the arts of infiltration, seduction, and assassination to advance the Empire's causes. They face the opposition of a terrified galaxy and the capriciousness of their own Sith overlords. Imperial Intelligence cultivates a notoriously vast and efficient network of informants, enabling the agent to navigate the galaxy's political landscape with effortless suave. Naturally, the agent's allegiance to the Empire is without question, but great latitude exists for those who are so closely attuned to the Empire's secret agendas. Agents can often harbour their own mysterious motivations as well. Having pierced countless layers of intrigue, these spies know of conspiracies within conspiracies. Even close contacts find it hard to predict what an Imperial agent will do until it is done. The most elite operative within Imperial Intelligence is the Cipher Agent, recruited and trained to carry out the most dangerous and sensitive assignments the Empire has to offer. Whether working undercover or carrying out assignments in broad daylight, the Cipher races along the razor's edge of disaster, using carefully orchestrated tactics that leave little room for error. The smallest slip-up can be catastrophic. Each successful mission, however, shifts the galactic landscape in the Empire's favour, and the agent plays a supremely critical role in securing Imperial domination. In regards to relations with the Sith, the upper echelons of Imperial society are reserved for the Force-sensitive Sith alone, but theirs is a world apart. The heart of the Empire consists of millions of subjects, descendants from the original exiles who settled on Droman Kos. For these loyal citizens, the Imperial agent is the exemplar of the highest level of achievement one might aspire to. These are the people the agent risks everything to protect. Though there are few idealists in Imperial Intelligence, the art of professional perfection is held in deep reverence, and the agent embodies the Imperial ideal in this respect. And inhale. Oh god, I love the Imperial agent so much. So,
My activities are authorized by Imperial Intelligence.
indeed they are. The Imperial agent. There is many ways you can roleplay, and there's a lot of options you can take, even though the class storyline leads you to a ultimate destination one way or another. How do I intend to play with Thalon? I contemplated this 6 months ago with Thalon and his female counterpart Ava. That was her name. And I've decided Thalon is going to be that exemplar of the Imperial ideal, the true professional. Now, events will transpire, which I will not spoil for anyone who may not have seen or played the Imperial agent before. But we'll see what occurs and how that may change Thalon's point of view, if it does at all. We will be probably making use of a couple of sets of adaptive armor. I've had a long time YouTube viewer, XP Warrior, ask me whether or not I would adapt my armor to the various worlds we would be visiting, in adapting for temperature, poison, toxic worlds, stuff like that. I can't promise to do this, but it's certainly something that I may consider in the back of my head, and if it comes to me before I visit that world, then I'll certainly look into it. But I don't think there's anything else I really need to mention. No, not on the top of my head anyway. There's been doubtless there's things I've forgotten. And if so, I will mention them as we explore the game together. Either way, yes, one last thing I suppose I should mention. If you've never played Star Wars The Old Republic before, it is free to play. You don't need a subscription, even though there is some benefits to being a subscriber. If you have any interest in exploring the story arcs of the individual classes, I highly recommend them. I mean, I've recorded them so many times, I must have enjoyed them. The only one I find the weakest one I find is the Jedi Consular. All the others are really strong, I find. If you have any interest in playing as an Imperial agent yourself in this game, because it's quite easy to do so without finding party members, if you wish, pause this video, stop watching the series, play the game yourself, play the story arc, and then maybe come back. This series will contain spoilers, and, well, I can't avoid that. Another thing I just remembered is this is an online game. I can't save and load my progress, and so if the server dies, if my internet dies, I may lose progress. There may be some content that gets cut out of the series later on YouTube. I'll try and avoid that as much as possible. It may occur, just to make you aware. But yeah, apart from that, we'll get into the opening and take it from there. So, I will see you in just a moment on our prologue world.
Secure transmission established. This is Keeper. We may speak freely, Agent. Prepare to receive your orders.
I'm ready, sir. What's the assignment?
In short, subversion. You were chosen for this operation because of your exemplary performance during training. Imperial Intelligence needs agents capable of working independently in the field. Now you apply your training to the real world. Nemro the Hutt and his organization run Jaguna, and you're in town to convince Nemro to supply the Empire.
I understand. How do I proceed?
We need to know what Nemro and his advisors are thinking before we can act. I want you to obtain access to the Nemro clan's inner circle. You require a cover identity. One of our contacts, an alien named Jig, has prepared a background for you and will provide the details.
So who am I going to be?
You'll be taking the role of a visiting pirate and trader. As I said, our contact will give you the details. Jig will be waiting for you at a safe house. Locate him, take what he offers, then report to me.
Should I expect to find trouble?
Most of Jaguna is caught up in a turf war. Some of the gangs involved belong to the Hutts. Others are independent. Your combat training should see you through, but expect brutality and expect to be targeted. Jaguna isn't friendly to strangers. Now, find Jig and report back to me. Keep her out.
And Keeper, or Contact A, is not kidding. As soon as we step out of the Poison Pit Cantina, even just trying to go next door to locate Jig or Contact, we may end up in a bit of trouble. So, we have some tutorial entries here. That's fine. We don't need those. We have a load of tooltips, a load of abilities. Right. What we're going to do is get ourselves out of this door here. Park ourselves here for a moment. We have Sheev. That'll do me fine. Right, let's back up a little bit more. Happy days. Right, what we're going to do, just make sure I remember to... That's not what I want to do. Let's find a key binding first of all. I want to hide my interface. And I can't recall how you do it. Ah. That's better. Radio. Oh, bloody hell, our name's still there. Bloody ridiculous. Either way. What I'll do is I'll take a break here. Thank you for watching if you've gotten this far into the introduction video. When we come back, we will be very briefly going through some of the UI elements. And then we're going to get ourselves out of the Poison Pit Cantina, explore Jaguna, find our contact Jig about this cover identity, and then see how we can infiltrate this Nemro the Hutt's inner circle, and then we'll get further information in regards to our mission. Thank you all for joining me sincerely. Feel free to leave a comment if you so wish. I would appreciate it. You don't have to, of course, it's up to you. And hopefully I'll see you for the next part of this series. But until then, enjoy the rest of your day and take care. Bye bye now.